And we're going. Hello.
It feels good to be back.
Yeah, we have not done this for a while.
No, so we did
Yeah.
2 movies today. It's still bright outside.
Yep. Great
Um,
lighting.
We did Incredibles 2 and Uncle Drew.
Yep.
And it rhymes.
Incredibles 2 and Uncle Drew.
Yeah,
Oh my
well, I'll
goodness.
talk about the
Yeah.
circumstance for Incredibles 2 afterwards. But
Yeah. I have interesting things to say for both of them.
both interesting
Yes.
things?
Yes.
Oh man, I have
Yes.
interesting things to say about Incredibles 2, but not Uncle Drew.
Okay.
But I'll start with this. I think I have a perfect start.
Yeah.
We checked the theater time. I'm gonna turn this off. We checked the theater screening time, and there were like 16 screenings per day of Incredibles 2. We go in, and it was like in one of the smallest theaters, and we're like, okay, I guess they're just playing it in multiple theaters.
That's it is what they were doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then we go to Uncle Drew,
And it's bigger.
and the screen is huge. And the entire time I watched Uncle Drew, I'm like, why am I watching it on a screen this big?
Well, it's Tinseltown for you.
Well, it's Tinseltown. Well, yeah, because the movie just came. This is like the second day the movie
Yeah.
came out. It's the weekend.
Yeah.
So
But anyway, what did you think of Uncle Drew?
can't do it. It's not abysmal, but it is just terrible.
I mean,
not funny.
not really. Okay, here's my. All right, do you have anything else to say? Because I have a spiel.
Okay, I have something to say. You know,
Yeah.
I told you to not Google anything about it.
Yeah,
Here's the reason. Guess the Rotten Tomato rating from critics.
it's probably pretty from critics.
Yes. I haven't seen what the audience rating is. I just did a quick Google search to look at the actors, and I saw the Rotten
My
Tomato.
guess from
Yep.
critics,
Yep.
something like 55.
Okay. 66.
Okay,
So it's actually a
guess.
tomato. It's a fresh.
that's my guess for this film. Yeah, I
Really?
understand that.
Really?
Yes. What's the audience rating?
I don't know yet, but do you want me to? Oh, I can't look.
Okay, it doesn't.
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so. Okay.
Do you have a star rating? Let's go star ratings for Uncle Drew.
Yes, 1.5.
Same, 1.5.
Yeah.
Wow, we agree.
We agree.
We're gonna give a high five.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Come
high
on,
five.
dude.
We're in basketball mode.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my spiel about Uncle
Let's
Drew.
go, because I don't have
This
much.
film is garbage. That's my gut instinct. The humor is very standard.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, you probably do.
Yep.
But you know, that's sort of like what I immediately want to say about this film, right? Like it's insensitive at times. The humor, it makes fun of Catholicism in a way that makes me uncomfortable. It makes fun of women in a way. I'm not making fun of women, but like trophies them. It
Makes
makes
fun
them
of martial
silly.
arts.
It makes fun of martial
Yeah,
arts.
martial arts
It
one
does
is the
all
most.
of these things, and it's. I mean, it's arguably just a horrible representation of basketball too. I mean, they get there's the pride of basketball, but it's
Makes fun
also
of old people.
It makes fun of old people. It has Deus Ex Machina writing in it. Uncle Drew is literally Jesus. At one point, the things they try to do with character development are just very lazy writing. It's a trash film. But I
But-
think everyone in that theater except us enjoyed it,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. It makes me think, we can go and pick at all of the shitty things that this film does. But at the end of the day, what this film intended to do, I think, was successful.
Huh.
So it makes me really question, we can be assholes as people who have seen a lot of film, and we've seen this formula before. And we can also make the argument that, because it is being insensitive, it's
Well, it's not
bad
just that.
for culture.
For me, and I think for us,
it's
what really matters is this film is totally disposable.
Yeah, that's the thing. This film is disposable.
Yeah.
but
the audience doesn't care.
The audience doesn't care if it's disposable.
Exactly.
Which is interesting. We watch films. I mean, I think it's a given that anyone would like a film to be good, right?
Uh-huh.
But not everyone cares that a film is like this super special thing like we do, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if a film is sort of like a throwaway, go to the theater to have a good time and laugh at people dressing up as old people and being funny, like we can say that it sucks, and we can go to this and sort of like suffer through watching it. But at the same time, like, there are times when the humor was funny. There are times when I laughed. And if I wasn't so cynical about film, like, if I was in a situation where, like,
Just
I
shooting the
had
shit
to
with
watch,
the boys.
like, I
or-
had to watch this, and, or like in some alternate universe where I don't care about film as much as I do, right?
Mhm.
Where, yeah, I was like going to the theater, and I was with my, like, if I actually had like a lot of friends who I hung out time with, which I don't, but like that's just, I'm just a different kind of person, right? And like also this is not our demographic kind of film. This is directed towards
Yeah, do
African
you follow
American.
sports?
No, not at all.
Yeah, me
Yeah, so
neither.
this film is meant to be a feel good film for a very specific type of person, which is not who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give you a context,
Yeah.
the only person in the cast that I recognized was Shaquille O'Neal, and I mentioned it to Mark, and he didn't even know who Shaquille O'Neal was. So
Yeah, he's
this is-
a basketball player.
he's a big time.
Yeah,
the
like
biggest-
if you follow basketball, like this is like a really cool thing then. Like it's your favorite basketball player who's playing as a guy who's like in a wheelchair, and then he starts playing basketball, and that's really cool, right?
Yeah.
We can recognize that as just bad writing,
Mm-hmm.
but
And
at the-
illogical. But
and illogical and just like kind of dumb. But at the end of the day, like nobody in that theater cared.
oh, nobody. They were clapping.
They were clapping.
They were cheering.
They were cheering.
Yeah.
and
all the tropes were playing up in that
Yeah.
last act, but they were rooting for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, and this relates to what I'll have to say about The Incredibles as well. But I'll save that. Yes,
Really?
but I'll save that for that video
Whoa
because
there.
that's where the conversation gets really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this film is trash. I'm giving it 1.5. But at the same time, like it's interesting. The more we see these kinds of films, I'm just like, you know, these films are gonna exist. People are gonna make them. They're going to be kind of insensitive. And is there a lot we can do about it? Not really. We can give it a bad star rating. And that's sort of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sort of like, I've lost any... I'm going to close the window just because we're getting a lot of noise. I've sort of lost the drive. Like, I remember with, like... We've gone into things like Wish Upon. Right? Like, or comparing it with like
Oh.
Girls Trip, where
Girls Trip was
yeah, where
was
like
fine.
where like it's yeah, Girls Trip is an interesting comparison because it's also sort of directed at a similar audience, except in that case it's more of like a raunchy comedy that's more for like the ladies' night out kind
And
of
I
thing.
think it delivers on the raunchy
Yeah,
comedy.
that one actually, there were things about that film that we really enjoyed.
Yes.
And then we sort of had a reason to be annoyed because it went in a direction that made it difficult for us to sit through, which was the
Yeah.
melodrama,
Ugh, in the last third.
which is, you know, the sort of the bad writing and the... Okay, so we had to move out of the car.
Because my phone was heating up too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was literally a warning that said temperature too high.
The phone overheated.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have to redo where we left off. Okay, what was I talking about?
You were talking about Girls Trip and how that was a really good, an example of a film that's also aimed for the same type of audience.
Yeah, so we had things to pick about with that film because we really enjoyed it, but we wished that this part of the film they had done differently. We were actually like upset at the poor writing. With this, like it's
The movie doesn't even care about its
it doesn't
writing.
care. I mean obviously like it cares that it like makes sense, but like its goal is to make you feel good, right?
Yeah.
It's a feel good movie.
Yeah.
And it succeeds for its audience.
For its audience.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we're not its intended audience. We're cynic film cynical film people.
I think there's a least.
Or not, maybe
I
not
was just
cynical, but like.
No, we're pretty cynical, but
Like-
but maybe you more so than me usually, which
Yeah.
is which surprising that your spiel
Yeah.
involves being not cynical.
Well, I guess
Whoa,
so.
this is
Yeah.
new. I'm just listening to his spiel, even in the car, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is a viewpoint.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel, this is not of all the films I've seen, this is not the one that makes me feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I guess like if we were watching this just us two and like by ourselves.
Oh yeah, we didn't have the theater experience.
Yeah, but because we had a theater experience where, like, particularly with that audience, right? Like we were even saying beforehand, like it's sort of like a thing to like talk at the screen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And people were doing that, and they would like clap when they make a goal,
Yeah.
or when like something really good happens. Like it was obvious, like even though it's like shitty writing in our eyes, for them it's something to get invested in, and like. Who cares if it's something formulaic? It's like they can know to put trust in the film because they know it's going to turn out right in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it's not a thing where like they care if it's like unpredictable or whatever.
Guess so.
Like if anything, they want it to be predictable so that it can be something that's more comforting to them.
I
right?
think this is like an interesting movie that comes in my mind actually is Spring Breakers.
Oh, that's the opposite.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's marketed as your
Yeah.
brainless party movie.
Which is part of the reason why it didn't do well
exactly,
at all. Because it was like
they expect at the
Yeah.
end, everyone goes back and like everyone hooks up and does a lot of drinks a lot, but in the end, something much more sinister and
Right.
satirical and artsy happens.
right.
Where the action that people expect kind of grinds to a halt, and it becomes about just some sort of like a cyclical rhyming.
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't want to spoil too much, but I really love Spring Breakers. Mark really likes it too.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, so that's-
it's a little bit hard to sit through for me at the time just because it's so different. But
Okay, so
Yeah, anyway,
I have two things to just riff off of your entire spiel.
Sure.
For me, the entire time, I had the movie at 1 star. Up until the ending, and this is not a big spoiler because at the end, they're gonna play basketball, and there's gonna be that final goal, and it got to me. I was like, a part of me was rallied up.
right. I mean that's what the writing does to get you excited.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
Like-
just
like, that's the formula.
It's
of
a
of
tried
good
and true
sport.
formula.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, my brain is going no, 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 but my heart is like, yeah, you go get him.
Yeah, I was the same way.
get it.
Like I knew he was gonna either make the shot or he doesn't make the shot, but they make it like a redeemable thing
Right. Exactly.
anyway.
Exactly.
Which that would have been much harder and much more interesting, right? But
Yeah.
like, who cares?
No, I think at that point, he was gonna make it.
I mean, at that
But-
point,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But I threw a couple of curveballs. There were a couple, the game kept on stopping, and of course, oh no, we shouldn't go too deep. Spoiler.
I mean, with a film like this,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
guess we just kind of did spoil the ending. But like with something like this, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
almost.
did with Gnome Alone. I
Yeah.
just didn't spoil.
Like,
I
if-
just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put a spoiler warning for Gnome
Yeah,
Alone.
that's bad on us for spoiling stuff without putting a warning. We don't like to do that.
Yeah.
But,
This
I
is
mean,
a different case.
this is kind of a
sort
different case because you're not going into this expecting them to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's set up to make it look like a really hard thing to do,
Yeah.
and they win anyway, right? And that's the point. They're gonna win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by the end,
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter if the old people were really weak and frail at the beginning. The old people.
Yeah. No, I mean like.
And at the end, they were just playing basketball.
Uncle
like,
Drew just does his magical Jesus powers, and they become awesome basketball players.
true.
That's just how this how the film works.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have another point.
Yeah.
And I think this is the reason why I cannot like completely sympathize with your spiel. This movie relies basically entirely on improvised dialogue. It's one of those films.
Oh, you're
From
right.
the way it's
Yeah.
cut, like there's a scene where the main guy, I don't even know his name. I think it's Kevin Nash, but I don't want to misname him. But he was like laughing, and then the moment he stopped laughing, they cut to like a different frame where he's saying something. So a lot of it is very disjointed.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I've seen a couple of movies that do that mediocrely to quite well. And the shining example of it is a film called Neighbors that stars Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. And of all the mainstream comedies, Neighbors is one that shines because it does rely on the comedic talent of its cast, but it manages to go a couple of notches above your average SNL skit dragged for 90 minutes. Like, that's a film where, like, okay, I don't mind watching, like, spending 90 minutes to watch this. This had, like, a sketch feeling from the very beginning, especially the first 2/3. And then once they started playing basketball, it became the basketball movie.
It becomes like the basketball movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing with this movie, you know how I've occasionally mentioned like the thing about American comedy that makes it American comedy from
Yes.
that I forget what British comedian sort of like really made this clear that I remember, but
Right, there's
with,
a YouTuber
like with
too.
British comedy, it's like there's the fool that like never succeeds, and that's who you sympathize with, and it's like the clown that always messes up.
Yeah.
But in American comedy, you're laughing sort of like at the people who are always successful, who have all the money, who have all the power, who have all the skill. And with a film like this, they kind of do both.
Well,
But there's the lovable loser character
Yeah.
who has everything he does wrong nullified by the typical American comedy
Yeah.
with the successful old guy who has all the swag and all the chops.
that's true.
yeah.
But I think there are a lot of American comedies that do the fool thing too, but it's very much its own flavor.
Yes.
Like we get the bumbling idiot, like the Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah.
You know, like the funny thing is that he's fat and that he trips on his own Segway. And I don't think either movie is good. Either of the movies are good, but that's the American cheap way of making comedy like that. And I think somewhat similar with Adam Sandler movies. I think he tends to play like someone who's like down on his luck.
Yeah, that's true.
Someone who's like mediocre or even below mediocre. Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be mediocre, but in the end, he's successful.
that's true.
He
Or
finds a
gets
way
the
to be
girl.
successful or
Yeah.
get the girl. In a British comedy, it would be, oh, I failed, but oh well. I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, that's an example.
I'm not.
but
I think.
An example-
I haven't seen enough British comedy to know
an
for
example
sure,
I think of
but-
is Shaun of the Dead. So Shaun of the Dead, you've only seen Hot Fuzz out of the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
But they all star the same guy. You know in Hot Fuzz how Simon Pegg is like a badass police. In Shaun of the Dead, he's like a total loser. But he somehow just survives the zombies. And the comedy is it's a very British way of approaching that.
That's exactly like the thing.
Yeah.
Like the difference. Yeah.
And both countries or both genres of both forms of comedy, they kind of both rely on like strokes of luck, but it's interesting to see how they approach it differently.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of difference in the way they approach it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. Do we even need to go into spoilers? There's nothing I really want to talk about.
We already kind of spoiled the film.
That's true.
I mean, are there certain jokes that are funny that I
Unless-
laughed at? Yes.
We could talk specifically about the Jesus scene if we go into spoilers. Okay, fine. If for those of you who want to
so, like-
really go into spoilers,
Okay,
this is the heavy spoiler warning.
we're going to the spoilers.
Yeah, the heavy stuff.
Okay, we're going to spoilers. Okay. Every team member had something, a stereotype about them that
Yeah,
annoyed me.
yeah.
It starts with the priest making fun of capitalism.
With a fake
Dunking,
baby.
he's about to dunk a baby.
Yeah.
And then, like, they're like,
And it makes-
oh, no,
Makes
we're
one
going
of
to
like
baptize
the,
you
the, the,
instead.
the
Like,
black congregation too.
Oh
Just
my
like how
gosh.
oblivious they are to just someone
It's-
who stutter, a pastor who stutters. That
like,
This is why. So I've seen Blues Brothers a couple of years back, and I don't remember much of it. But that one also has cameos from a lot of like famous African American musicians. I now appreciate what Blues Brothers does so well. It has all these cameos of like people who aren't usually actors, but it pays respect to like a black church and the way to celebrate music.
yeah. That's the thing, though. Like, because I'm sort of thinking about this film in a way as, like, should we care? Like, it makes me wonder if the intended audience of this film cares. Like, let's say there are Catholic people who are in this demographic. A lot of them might just see it as what it is, as silliness.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of, but at the same time, it is really disrespectful. So like, but it's like, I don't know what to think about it.
I think the most interesting
Yeah.
thing I want to like ponder on is like, when do audiences turn their sensitive lights on when it comes to like jokes and offensive stuff, and when is it okay for them to watch something and be like, oh, it's okay, they're just making fun?
Yeah.
Because for me, this have some offensive moments.
Yeah.
But even a part of me knew like, oh yeah, I don't need to care about this.
Right.
When like something totally
Like we went in going in knowing that it would probably do something like that.
Yeah.
Because we know what kind of film this is in comparison to a lot of the other stuff people.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a film like Peter Rabbit does something like that makes fun of people with allergies, and then a bunch of moms are like, "Holy crap, allergies! You made fun of people with allergies?"
Yeah.
How can
Like
you do
imagine
that?" And
if
they bite
Pixar
others.
did something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
They would never get away with that.
Imagine if Coco was actually a film about Latin American tropes.
Yeah, like that would be abysmal, and they would go out of fucking business
Yes.
if they did something like this,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But like another thing I wonder is like, is the intended audience of this film, do they see anything other than this kind of movie? If so, then like
They might catch
would
a
it
Jurassic
meet-
World.
Yeah, like they might
and
try
you're-
to catch a
and
Jurassic
you're-
World or something.
They're probably
Yeah,
Marvel
but like
fans.
if that's true, then like the kind of media that they watch,
Mm-hmm.
they don't see it as some like serious thing, or like if like maybe they don't even care about the serious stuff.
Mm.
Like film for them is just something to watch that's silly to take to take a break
Maybe.
and have a good time.
But then
right?
I don't know. But then a Black Panther comes,
Yeah.
and then everyone goes to see it
Yeah.
because it's important, and they know it's important. And then
Yeah,
on
that's
social
true.
media, they talk about how
That's
important
true.
it is.
Yeah. So like, as like someone who wants to create interesting things, it makes me sad that there are people who treat film that way. But like, everyone has their own way of treating the media they consume, right?
Right.
So. Who am I to say that no, you should treat it as something that's serious?
Yeah.
If like you just don't want to, right?
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know, like if we were like historians and we were looking at this film 50 years in the past.
Send this one to the aliens.
Like compare this with freaking Jamaica Run, right? We see the slavery in that film, and all of the slaves and all of the servants, and like the freaking scene where like they're surrounded by black Jamaican slaves with, like fanning them at dinner, and no one bats an eye, right? Like people in 50 years in the future will be seeing a lot of this stuff, and like we kind of saw that film and be
Yeah.
like, how could they get away with this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what the conclusion of this is.
Yeah.
It's just interesting stuff to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the Jesus scene.
Oh my God, the Jesus scene. I mean, like,
So
there's a part of me that laughs at it.
yeah.
And there's a part of me that feels bad that I laugh at it. But it's like, it's funny because he's a basketball guy and he's a priest and he's dunking a baby. Like, the absurdity of that is funny.
Oh no, I'm talking
But
about
it's
the scene
disrespectful.
when Uncle Drew is Jesus.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the church
Well,
scene.
we can talk about the church
Okay.
scene.
Yeah. Okay.
too.
So one spoiler is that they play a game, and they all suck. Right? They play this girls basketball
bunch of-
team who's like
yeah.
they're like 14 and 16, and they're whooping their ass. Then they get to the court, and then Uncle Drew becomes
It's
Jesus.
nighttime, so
it's
you
nighttime.
get the sappy music.
You get the sappy
You know something
music.
intimate's gonna happen.
Uncle Drew becomes Jesus, and he gives an item to every single player,
Yeah,
and
out
that
of his bag,
item
his gym bag.
makes that player suddenly God
at
and good at basketball.
Yeah, suddenly the best at basketball.
Yeah, so
unable to miss a single
So he
shot.
gives the blind guy goggles that lets him see.
Mm-hmm.
But the best one is he gives the guy in a wheelchair who hasn't walked in like
a pair
years
of Converse.
a pair of shoes that
Yep.
that he used
Yep.
to play basketball, and
And
that's
he-
like his nickname and stuff. That's like what he knows
Yes,
for.
yes.
He puts on the shoes. He's like, I got
Stand
this.
up, yep.
He stands up
Yep.
and he makes a goal.
And he doesn't even say a single thing because he's like the quiet one.
he's like
Yeah, he just
he's the
stands up
mute chair guy.
and he goes.
And
Actually, that's interesting because you think about that moment. We don't know these basketball players, but a lot of the audience know who's playing these.
So it's funny because as soon as you see the role that he's playing,
Uh-huh.
you already know that's going to happen.
Right.
Interestingly.
Right.
So then it becomes a thing of like when it does happen, it's like it's this evil writing thing where it's making you feel smart in the most sinuous way.
I don't think it's making you feel smart.
Well, it's
I
making
think,
you feel smart because like you know that's gonna happen because it's like, hey, you know this guy. It like makes you feel good that you know this guy and that you were able to predict what
I mean,
happens.
that's one way to think about it. But if you think about, I don't think the film is as malicious as it is.
Oh, it's not. Well, it's like
Well,
it's a
I think
it's a
that's
narrative
I
trick.
think that's a very
right?
cynical way of.
That's my
putting
cynical
it,
side coming
because
through, yeah.
I think that this film knows its audience,
Mm-hmm.
and that the audience is the people who probably watch basketball.
Right.
So I don't think it's trying to make them feel smart. I think it's just. It's like when we see Steve Buscemi in a movie. We immediately.
Sure. It's the same trick. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same trick.
Yeah.
But they see them, and I think they almost want that to happen, and the Jesus moment becomes something that's not necessarily funny. Well, it is funny because they go from old man makeup them to like real them, and I guess that's just something that I feel like if I knew about the best who the actors are, like that would make me maybe forgive that scene more. So
Well, you would enjoy it if like imagine if like some musician that we really liked cameoed in the film. Like imagine if like Poppy
yeah.
was like not like they would never do this, like right, but like the character of Poppy like appeared in the film. Like we get nuts over that because we really enjoy what they do, right?
Right.
So like it's,
like
the same
if,
sort of deal.
It's like if Danny Brown is in a movie,
Yeah.
and then the first half he plays a serious businessman, and then the second half he just goes into like cocaine and stuff,
Yeah,
and his
that'd be
true
hilarious,
self comes
yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
we're like, of course this is how they would do
Yeah.
if they cast Danny Brown.
yeah.
So the moral of the story, which is what we started off with, this movie's not intended for us.
Yeah. Well, duh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a kung fu stereotype, which is interesting because I just saw a blaxploitation film that was all about kung fu. Kung fu being taught in, I think, the Harlem district, called Black Belt Jones, and I didn't find that film offensive, even though it had like people that they see each other
Well,
and they're just like, oh, oh,
You
oh.
have a different mindset going in when you know it's an exploitation film, of course.
No, well, but I think it actually
Oh, really?
kind of pays respect to kung fu.
Really?
It's an interesting riff on kung fu. It's like if there's
Well, it's like kung fu in media, not like the actual kung fu, right? But like kung fu is as it is portrayed. And
well, yeah.
well, what do you think?
Well, okay, so the main actor is someone who actually is like a skilled martial artist.
I see.
And so the movie was made to be a vehicle for him to like just show off his chops. But obviously there is a lot of stereotype that goes into it. But I don't think they mean it in any. There's nothing like listening to music that's like, or like he's meditating right now. He's just meditating right now.
Yeah, that was just like
Or like he's listening to chants.
he's listening to chants, and they make that the gag.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, here's.
I mean, you could argue that that's belittling the culture. That's just dumb as fuck.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's overgeneralizing in a way that's, again, it's no Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's bad. It's not that level. Like I was still able to swallow it just fine. But you know what's the one thing in the movie that reminded me of its runtime that the movie really didn't need? Every time there was it cut to the car driving on a highway.
You know why that is? Enterprise funded the fuck out of this.
Enterprise.
You know why?
Well,
I
there's
know
also
that?
a lot of Pepsi.
You know why I know
Because
that?
on the TV.
Because they showed the logo
Yep.
freaking everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
of
really?
Enterprise.
I only saw it once on the TV.
Yeah. It was not until later in the film until I realized just how much they were showing Enterprise. But like they would sneak it in ways that were it became almost absurd. Like
Yeah.
it was on the core. And like I think they even showed part of an Enterprise commercial at some point. I don't know. I could be
think so.
making that
They
up.
was switching the channels and-
Yeah, he was switching the channels. The commercial was literally just Enterprise on the screen with a white background. I remember that very particularly because
Yeah.
that was the moment I realized, yeah, Enterprise is a very large part of this film.
Yeah. Also
and
Pepsi. There's a
funding.
lot of Pepsi in it
Yeah,
too.
Pepsi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the reason they have so much car stuff is Enterprises.
Okay,
doing
that makes a
part
lot
of
of
it.
sense.
Like why do you have carpet in your car? And why do you like? And like it's like
Oh,
this,
yeah,
the
and then-
car
and
is
then they
like
go
this
into, like, oh, this is
wonderful
the living
thing.
room,
This is the
this is
living
the
room. This is
bedroom.
like that's totally intentional.
Yeah, I get it.
Like to make you. To sort of like, hey, look at this cool car! Isn't this so cool? That's part of it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Most mainstream comedies, they use this lazy way of like moving a character from one city to another through that exact same type of car highway shot. And this film just does it like 5 times more
Yeah.
than your average film. I think that's why it bugged me, because it's already a thing that I hate seeing in any comedy, because it's so lazy. And they put some hip tune. Oh yeah, there's the scene where Uncle Drew's music taste. Hibbity hobbity. I don't even know what I want to say about it. I just suddenly remembered that.
I whispered to you at one point, you should get out some Danny Brown. I
Oh,
wanna
yeah,
see what would
exactly,
happen.
exactly.
It would destroy the movie because like that would never happen.
Yeah.
But I really want to see that scene
Well,
where he just whips out, yo, listen to this shit, dog.
yeah.
And he goes, what the fuck?
Yeah,
is
exactly.
this
Like, how do you even
garbage?
react to this? Because you know they're improvising their lines.
Yeah.
How does one react when he's listening to this? But actually, it's funny because I was in New Jersey this past weekend, and that's what I literally did in the car as
that's
the driver.
hilarious.
So that I'm like, yeah, I did that, and the reaction was ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an ideal world. Like, he's showing the most mainstream, even retro hip-hop stuff.
All of the music in this film was just not great. Yeah.
I don't know if the music's not great,
Yeah.
because Biggie Smalls is a great...
Well, when there were
Great
there were
rapper.
times where like, yeah, listen to this classic stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like I mean, at times
Yeah.
that music was more like, yeah, that's classic. That's not bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But no, okay, maybe the stuff they listen to in the car with the giant cassettes, those aren't bad. But
Yeah,
anytime
yeah.
they use a song as a background, it's all the most throwaway
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just the nature of the cheap nature of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing they did do that was cool is in the after credits sequence, they showed them putting on the makeup. I thought that was
like the makeup was-
that's
yeah.
a cool meta sort of like, hey, here's how we made the film. I like it when films do that.
I like that
that's
too.
one redeeming factor I'll give.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny when a lot of the gags they did in the credits were funnier than the ones in the movie.
Yeah. Well.
Well, maybe part
Well,
of
that's
it,
a way to punctuate the experience so that it becomes like a really awesome.
It's also
thing,
partly
right?
because they break character.
Yeah.
So we know that they're having a good time.
Yeah.
When in the movie they like have to kind of put this facade in.
Yeah.
And that just makes it a little more confusing.
Yeah, it's like you had a good time, we had a good time
Yeah.
too making this film. Just so you know, like
Yeah.
it's for this kind of movie. That's a good way to do it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that white guy villain?
He annoyed the shit
Yeah.
out of me. Oh my
Ridiculous.
God.
The worst.
Like every sort of trope, like he steals the girl, he steals the team. It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, the movie
Yeah.
begins like there's no beginning. It just kind of starts. There's this montage with like all the professional sports people talking about basketball. Like,
It reminded me
who
of The
Uncle Drew is.
Incredibles because they do a similar thing in a much more tasteful way of like starting
first
with
one?
the first one where they
Oh,
start with interviews.
so good.
Yeah,
Good.
that's a great way.
Yeah.
That was a great way to start it. This
Uh-huh.
was just like lazy exposition writing.
So I made a solo video ramble recently, watching the first Incredible, saying how much I loved it. The moment that started, I was like, I didn't know this movie was this great.
Yeah.
Like, it just immediately locked me in.
Yeah.
The sequel, however, let's move on to that in a bit. But
Ooh, I
yeah.
have thoughts.
So after the opening montage of all the people talking, which lasts for way too long, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps on going.
It's like we know he's great. You told us in the trailers.
Yeah. And then we just see this dude, and he's in the gym, and then the white guy comes in this slow, like, walking montage, and we're like, oh, this is character
Yeah, they
establishment.
introduced the rivalry and they introduced like he's
barely
like a coach who
Yeah.
cheats.
It just doesn't.
and
It doesn't feel like character establishment. It just feels like
It
we're
feels
just
like
coasting.
it feels like coasting, and I mean it's city writing for shitty
yeah,
writing,
exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know another movie this year. It reminded me of Chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last year there was this cop show reboot. They released a solo film of the 70s cop show. It's called Chips. And that was one of my least favorite movies of last year that I saw in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
This is better actually. But yeah, Chips is garbage. But it does a similar thing where you just right from the beginning you feel like it's coasting. Like, scenes don't really have beginnings and ends. They're only bookended by
Well, I mean, this had scenes.
This
but
had
like,
scenes, yeah.
But like the whole beginning was just a big setup to put him in a position where like you feel sorry for the main character. That's basically was the only reason that they did all that garbage to him.
Right.
Like it's like he's an orphan. He loves basketball.
Oh yeah,
and he got the short end of the stick.
Ugh.
He got the short end of the stick because, and his girlfriend breaks up with him. He's literally homeless. He has like a garbage bag and with all his stuff in it. Like he's like in the lowest point, and he meets him. Right. Like that makes it exciting when that happens. Right.
Yeah. And of course, the moment you see the granddaughter, you know that they're gonna get together.
The trophy granddaughter. Like at that point, I was like, I don't really care. I know you're gonna do this anyway, but I hate that so much that they do that.
I'm okay with like by the end, last time they kissed, he was cringing, and I was like, meh, I'm feeling good.
I just hate it. Okay, there's so many films that do this where like it's the end, everyone's celebrating, and then someone kisses and everyone celebrates that they're kissing.
Yeah.
That I really hate because
Really?
it's like it's such a film thing to do that one would never happen.
That would never
Like
happen.
if like imagine if like the basketball team won and everyone's celebrating and then for like you're just like someone in the crowd and then all of a sudden like the main guy just starts making out with some girl.
Right.
To me, that would be kind of creepy.
No, the only reason
you wouldn't cheer that on.
No, the thing is, if they cheer, the only reason they cheer for that in the movie is the fact that this is the main character.
Yeah.
In real life, there is no main character.
Yeah, it's
they're
like,
going to be minding their own.
It's like the
cheery
audience
business.
is like confirming their roles as extras and
Exactly.
like mindless like we drive the plot along, yay!
Right.
We make it the end exciting. That's our only purpose in life.
Yeah.
Woo.
I'm so glad the cynic in us is coming out after that, after the cushion that we kind of started the review
Yeah,
with.
that's true.
Because I this is what I wanted to. Yeah.
This is what you really
This
just
is what
wanted
I
to trash
wanted.
this film.
Yes, yes.
I'm glad we're getting to
Yes.
itch that for you now.
Oh, here's an interesting thing that I never noticed this. Why do these comedies always have a dance-off?
Every single one
Even
does.
Rough Night, which is when you didn't see.
Girls Trip. Even
What's another one?
every single American comedy has a dance off. Here, it didn't even make sense to have a dance off.
Right.
They're old people, and like they shouldn't know how to dance. Where did they learn the dance?
And they're just saying how like, oh, these two guys are grinding, and then they go and do the robot and do that breakdance
Yeah,
stuff.
they do like. Well, they
It's
kind of
really
kept it
hip.
old school.
A little
They
bit.
kind of kept it
Yeah,
old school.
okay.
But
A
like,
little
it's
bit.
in a context of we're showing the young blood how it's done.
Right. And the thing is, there was no clear winner, because then it shows. I think
They
it's-
won. They won. Who else would have won?
Well, I know.
The
Well,
random dudes
of
in
the
the
dance-off.
disco.
Well, of course they. It's implied that they won, but like it just seems like they were doing that to one, just have some fun with the actors dancing, but
Yeah.
two, show off a bunch of extras who can actually dance.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the extras who actually dance were much better dancers than these
That's
guys.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's a weird thing that's been going on.
Yeah, well, it's a feel-good movie. If you have a bunch of people dancing, that's just fun to watch.
Right.
And if it's like the human psychological thing of like if you see a lot of people having a good time and you're into the experience, you're just naturally going to have a good time.
Right,
too.
and there's
This is a
obviously
really easy
there's
way
going to
do
be an
it.
obligatory scene where it's in between games and they're just having some downtime. So why not put a dance scene in the middle of it?
Yeah.
You know, there's chilling in the club. Why not? But yeah. So the thing is, I said that I was really. I wanted to use the word aroused, but like emotionally aroused by the ending. How like it's the final shot. I'm like, yeah, okay, the film is playing the usual stuff, but I'm invested because that's how the movie does it. All the other games, I was almost like spacing out.
Well, like
Up until the last game. Before that, I was all like,
because Uncle Drew did his Jesus stuff,
uh-huh.
there's no tension in
Oh,
those
that's
final
true.
games. The
Yeah.
only reason the last match was anything to care about
Was 'cause
as
of White
exciting
Dude?
was because White Dude
girlfriend?
rival was heading to coach, and how they started the game was them messing up, and because Big Karate Man had a heart attack previous.
Yeah, Big
game.
Karate Man
They
straight
set
from
it
the
up so that
hospital.
you have a reason to like, oh, are they gonna win? Are they gonna win? And even though you know they're gonna win, it's like you play along with the game anyway.
Right.
That like it wouldn't have worked if like you just had Jesus powers.
Right.
And they won easily, right?
Right, and at the same time, of course, they're gonna have the switch off. I mean, I knew the main character was gonna play at the end. You know, that's definitely a trope. You're like the moment he talks about his dark past with basketball and how that.
The one shot that made him lose
my God, I
all
hate
self-esteem.
that.
That
I
was
hate
the
that.
worst
It's
writing
so
decision ever.
bad.
That was so bad. It was so bad.
It's not just that. It's like it's not even that traumatizing. It's this one shot. And
They
like,
make it traumatizing.
They make it traumatizing
for no reason. Well, like
But
for
it's
the
so hard
reason
for the
to
audience
like
to
make
root.
like
I think that's why he's like the person who the audience connects to, because that maybe like we've all tried in high school.
Right.
I mean, like the ex-sports players. You know, they've all had that one varsity game where they embarrassed themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that made them quit. So this is catering to them.
yeah. You know what's really funny? I really wanted Uncle Drew to be like when he actually confessed and was like, yeah, this is why I don't have any self-esteem. He didn't say that, but like he was like, yeah, there's this one shot I didn't make, and that's why I suck. It's basically like that was like the subcontext. I really want Uncle Drew to be like, you dumb fuck. That's why you have such low self-esteem.
Right,
Because that's what
exactly.
the character was.
Yeah.
But instead he went like, nah, dude, we got your back. Our team's
Well,
here
that's
for you.
that's
And,
what
like,
that's the tone that the movie has to be at that
it
point.
has to be in that tone.
Oh, one thing I thought was fun.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
No. One thing that I thought was fun was when the preacher's wife turned out to be a basketball player and showed off her shoes. I'm like, okay, that's pretty that's funny. That's a nice little twist.
That's a nice little twist, but it's another Deus Ex Machina thing.
Of course, it's a Deus Ex Machina.
Like every save in this film is like something
Yeah,
bad happens, and there's a
okay,
Deus Ex
for
Machina
me,
that
that
saves
worked.
them. It didn't work at all for me.
Aw,
There's no
it's like,
reason
this
she
is
should
fun.
be as good as basketball as these pros, these ex-pros, right? But she gets to play with the ex-pros not because she like earned her position as having good skills, but because she's an important character. That's the only reason why she's good.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, whatever. I liked it. I found it okay. There was one more thing I wanted to say, but I don't remember. But it's not important at this
Okay.
point. Wow, this video turned out to be pretty long.
Yeah.
I thought our Uncle Drew review was going to be short.
I don't know. We found things to talk about anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Oh, I wanted to say something.
it- okay. Good.
The whole big karate man beef with Uncle Drew.
Dumb conflict for the sake of conflict.
It's so stupid.
Dumb conflict for the sake of conflict. It's really just
Oh my gosh.
put in the conflict so that you can have something to care about. That's
man,
all it was.
Man,
Yeah.
for a movie that's 15 minutes shorter than Incredibles 2, this felt twice as long.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about Incredibles 2. Guys,
Me too.
I have a lot to say
Me too.
about that film.
But
Okay.
I think that's all the juice we can squeeze out of Uncle Drew.
Yeah, Uncle Drew.
You know if you want to see this movie. So if you want to see it, see it.
Don't see this movie. If you're watching
Oh, no,
this channel,
no.
you probably don't want to see this movie.
Well, at the same time, okay, if this caters to you and you stumble upon this video while the movie's still in theaters, just wait till it's on streaming or something that's, wait till you can watch it for cheaper.
I can't support this movie in any
Really?
good conscience.
Really?
People are gonna watch this movie whether we say so or not.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, fine.
I can't support.
I love how you started off as a super optimistic mark and then you ended
That's
up
like, well, that,
ultra cynical. And
that's
I'm
like how-
lift it up.
I mean, that's like my justification to not get mad at it, right? Like, if I didn't have that reason, I would be like advocating that this shouldn't exist.
Yeah, smoke coming out of the ears.
But like, everyone had a good time, so it just feels wrong of me to have that opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, see, I'm the type of guy who prefers seeing a movie in an empty theater, and it's nice to see. It's nice when an audience cheers for a movie that I like, but if an audience has a different reaction to me, honestly, I could care less about their reaction. I'm still gonna talk about.
I'm the same way. I mean, for any other type of film, I would much rather just having my own thoughts about
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that was
Okay.
a really good talk.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a good actual warm up for The Incredibles 2
Incredibles
talk.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go watch that. Bye.
Okay.